Good afternoon from a sunny but chilly and breezy Conneaut Harbor as we are watching the first ship of the season to dock, the Indian Harbor. The Indian Harbor has had to brave lots of bad weather conditions and some lucky breaks to get down to Conneaut Harbor here from its originating point was Two Harbors, Minnesota, up on Lake Superior, where it picked up a load of iron ore to drop off here in Conneaut. Once it drops off that ore, it will be heading back up to Lake Superior to get another load and another mission, as we are just beginning the early season here. Now, a little bit about the ship. This is a frequent flyer to Conneaut, one I've videoed before. Indian Harbor is one of the 13,000 foot long plus ships. This one is 1,000 foot long. It is 105 foot wide beam. This ship was built in 1979 and has been a record setter on the Great Lakes here. They carried the largest load of iron ore through the Soo Locks, which is the locks in the channel on the St. Mary's River that connects Lake Superior to Lake Huron, when it carried 77,500 tons. Gosh, that's an astronomical amount of weight of iron ore through there, and that was a record. It set records at several other ports too, with its loads of coal and limestone, and in doing so and pushing the boundaries to see how much you could get in the loads on the Great Lakes when they started putting these 1,000-footers in here. They pushed the limits in 1986. It ran aground in the St. Clair River when it was loaded just a little too much, and so they realized they had to adjust more for the water depth of the Great Lakes, which would be more equate to oceans or inland seas rather than what you would call a lake, as these are astronomically large bodies of water, and they are all connected by a series of rivers, natural rivers and lakes. And some of the pinch points on those rivers can be some of the shallow points where loads have to be less than 8 years old, and it's like starting to freeze my fingers off already. So this ship, this time in particular though, this ship just made it through, got the lucky break after making it through a rough storm on Lake Superior to get across. It made it through the Soo Locks and down the channel just before a disaster happened. And what happened is the American Mariner, a 714-foot long ship, not just ran aground, but ran into a navigational buoy beacon. That's a stationary point that is literally set up there to prevent such a thing from happening, and it has closed off the St. Mary's River, literally cutting Lake Superior off from the Great Lakes shipping and making a lot of the ships have to dock. We got a strong breeze here. It is hopefully not affecting the audio too much. There's not much I can do about that. Down here along the Lake Erie, it's almost always windy. It's just something you deal with down here because there's literally nothing to stop the wind. And Lake Erie's unique shape is it's literally shaped in the pattern, the predominant pattern of the wind. So that wind just has hundreds of miles with nothing to block it to build up speed coming across before it hits over here in Conneaut. Now it's really actually a mild forecast. The water temperature off of Conneaut is 39.4 degrees. and we have a forecast of only 1 to 3 feet for wave heights, which for a ship like this is very minuscule. Inside the harbor here, it even is a little choppy from the wind. Yeah, so the American Mariner is now, when it ran aground and hit that and damaged the navigational beacon, it has stopped traffic. It is currently sitting up there with both U.S. and Canadian Coast Guard ships around it. I checked the Marine Mariner app, and it's sitting there blocking up the traffic. Now, I understand Great Lakes shipping, why cutting off one lake just completely basically halts the vast majority of the shipping on the Great Lakes. Okay, most of the cargo shipped on the Great Lakes comes from the ports on Lake Superior. The ports of Silver Bay, Two Harbors, and Duluth, Minnesota, also its twin harbor there, in Superior, Wisconsin, and also Thunder Bay, Ontario, Canada is a major shipping hub and is on the northern end of Lake Superior. And on the southern part, you have Marquette and Houghton. And also Sault Ste. Marie, which is where the Sioux Locks are, is also a harbor as well. And all of those are cut off, completely cut off from the shipping right now, which is going to, it'll delay the next load that would end up coming to Conneaut, because it is now closed right now. What they're saying is indefinite while they do an investigation. They have to do that justifiably. One, that navigational beacon is key for keeping ships from running aground, but literally the ship is there because, or the beacon is there literally to prevent that happening, and they need to do an investigation and figure out why it. And these investigations don't exactly happen quickly. So this ship here, a little bit of its history, it's had some of its pitfalls. I already mentioned one of them there in 1986 where it ran aground in the St. Clair River. No, and also again in 1993, it ran aground in the St. Mary's River and cut a big 8-foot gash in it. In that same river where the American Mariner is currently run aground. The shipping on the Great Lakes, or shipping in general on the open seas, is dangerous. It's a dangerous business. So it also had another episode where Canadian Harbor here decided to try to play chicken with the lighthouse and lost. It hit the Lansing Shoals lighthouse and caused $1.9 million damage to the ship and only $100,000 to the lighthouse. I definitely say the lighthouse won that battle. Yeah, the ship is going to back in here to Conneaut Harbor. All the ships have to end up backing in. So what you're seeing here, that's the rear end of the Indian Harbor. And I'm trying to position, there's just a strong breeze. I'm trying to position to have that breeze not hit me as much or hit the camera. But I don't think it's working. And it's really freezing my hand off. Chilly day. But you know, it's deceptively bright. Just so you know, we do have interesting events coming up here. Because we have April 8th, 9 days away, is going to be the solar eclipse. I think 10 days away. 10 days away. And that'll be coming right over top of Conneaut, Ohio, and there are emergency warnings, and the state of emergency warnings literally declared for pretty much every county in the path of the solar eclipse. And a lot of people are confused by that because we had a similar solar eclipse event go over across the U.S. in 2017, which literally affected nothing. Well, just to kind of put this in perspective here, first of all, you got to understand how society has changed since 2017. Okay, when we were under 45, things were a little calmer than what they are under 46, which seeks to cause disaster. Okay, and a big thing that I have learned as I've had not only my career in the military of over 20 years, but my career as in law enforcement that spanned 22 years, something you learn really quick. As a person is smart, people are dumb, panicky animals. Now the areas along here, especially along Lake Erie, where there's supposed to be spectacular views of this eclipse, are supposed to literally be quadrupled in their population. There's going to be abundance of people with resources only for pretty much for the initial, for the regular population. So it's going to create some sort of shortages. There'll be traffic problems. So they're advising everyone that lives there stock up ahead of time and get out of the way. Because there are going to be people who don't know the area and on the roads trying to drive and navigate them. And this could create some big problems. See if I can get the ship in better in the zone. So they are advising everyone stock up. So if you're in the path of this eclipse, I'm going to say the same thing advice. There's literally no downside to grabbing 3 weeks worth of groceries, having your tank filled with gas in advance, because what's the downside to that is you'll have to go grocery shopping for a couple of weeks. That's it. And I would say that too is, you know, if you want to watch the eclipse, I understand. I want to try to do that too, but as locals, we know some good spots to go where other people aren't. So try to go there and stay out of the tourist way. They're pretty much going to only be there for the, you know, maybe 2, or, you know, probably because this eclipse is on a Monday, they might be there for the weekend, a 3-day weekend, and then they're going to go home. And so to try to avoid you having to be in the fray of this, and because for locals that would definitely frustrate the heck of you. Here in Conneaut, when we got 4 or 5 cars on the road, we're all literally figuring out, what the heck, where's everyone going? Well, during this, we're going to have literally traffic jams on our streets, and that would be frustrating for some locals because these will be people who aren't used to these roads. And so the best thing to do is get out of their way. So they are going to spend a bunch of money in this community, and at the end of the day, that will benefit us economically. So find alternative ways, because, you know, it's like when you live in the area, you're a little smarter about what places to go in this area. And stay out of the tourist way, because remember, they will be in clogged. There will be clogged situations. If there's anything, think of this like animals, like herd animals. One little thing can cause a stampede, okay? Remember that about people. People who gather in a large group are dumb, panicky animals. And you have to protect yourself from that. Now, another thing that's happened with the shipping, people have asked me why I'm not commenting on the Baltimore Bridge disaster, and as I do have good knowledge on that stuff and what's going on, I've not commented on it. First of all, I like doing as much as I can, like I did with the Cuyahoga, the in-person reporting, and I don't want to drive to Maryland, first of all, but I am looking over what's coming out, and there is a bunch of people The FJB administration came out very quickly and said this was an accident. However, I found out that it was literally only today that they were going to be interviewing pilots and the harbor master. They had not interviewed anybody to find out what had happened at all. Not even informally had not done that. And so some people say stuff has come out or leaked out that it was a T attack, and others saying no, it's just an accident. And I do have an opinion on that, which is I need to wait and see, okay, because none of the facts, that we haven't interviewed the crew. There are some things I know about, especially the international shipping industry. Things I've experienced with Great Lakes shipping is, the shipping industry is a very competitive, tight industry that is about making money. So a lot of the times for their maintenance, they will do the minimum that they got to do to keep it afloat. And now in the U.S., we have much more better standards of labor and regulations on our ships. So here on the Great Lakes, these ships may be better maintained with more knowledgeable crews. However, international is not done that way. They will literally, they say this ship in Baltimore was a ship from a Singapore country whose crew was from India. So what that sounds to me like is that they picked the crew that literally they had to pay the least to. So not necessarily your best experienced crew to deal with this. But we do in the U.S. literally have things in place that are supposed to prevent this type of stuff from happening. And one thing is evident is that there was a power failure and they lost control of the steering, and you can see the generator lights kick on in the video, but they'd never regained steering. And then the generator even went out and there was a failure. You've seen the black smoke coming out of the engine. Obviously we're having mechanical and engine problems. And you've seen real quickly with like with the Cuyahoga and also the ship that's stuck in the Conneaut harbor, the Roger Plow, how something real quickly can happen, and cutting corners on things like they did with the Roger Plow. They had cut corners on some safety things and that caused that fire. In the shipping industry's way of looking at it is there were no casualties, with the Roger Plow, so it's not really a huge loss, huge enough loss. So, now with this one, we do have some loss of life, some construction workers who were actually very bravely trying to help stop traffic when that collapsed. So these people were literally trying to save other people's lives. So the ship did put out a mayday signal and dropped their anchor, which means the crew itself was not trying to destroy that bridge. So, you say, was it a cyber attack? I don't know. There are several government agencies that will be doing an investigation, and they'll be able to determine that. What I do know is it is going to affect all of us here in the United States, as Baltimore is not only just a large harbor, but the interstate bridge that was taken out during that was a main thoroughfare for hazardous chemicals, and it's really going to hurt, and it's messing up with the access to some military, some Navy ports, which is it's gonna mess up some stuff with our military, probably most of all from this. But it is going to have an economic impact, as that is a port where a lot of goods are shipped in the U.S. are shipped out, and that we receive stuff in. For instance, there has been a ship loaded with coal that was unable to dock because of this, and they're now having to make other arrangements. So it is going to have a long-term effect, because they say they're already estimating at close to 4 to 5 years to be able to repair that bridge and return things to normal. to get to them quickly. We investigations for shipwrecks are not quick, and I know this from studying some of the stuff with the Roger Blau and some of the things that are happening with the Cuyahoga. Is literally don't hold your breath to find out what happened. It'll come out in time, and usually with some of these, this one's more high profile, so the media may pick up on it. But we also have an event coming up here in November that literally the entire world is focused on what's going to happen with that. And this information may be just back page stuff that'll come out because there's bigger events going on in the world. You got to say though, it is bad news for all of us that this happened, whether it was an accident or a cyber attack, something malicious. It's definitely bad for us, no matter what. And it would be like if just even here in Conneaut, little old Conneaut, if this port got shut down, it would affect several industries very negatively in the U.S. here. And they would have to find they would have to do alternative ports, which would increase the cost. It's not going to stop the cost. And none of this stuff that happened even in Baltimore is going to cost. It's not going to stop business. It's going to delay it and make it cost more. And at the end of the day, we're the ones, the consumers, who end up paying that cost. So that's who really loses in this whole thing in Baltimore, is we the consumers. And evidently, from what the False 46 said, it's going to be us, the taxpayers, who are going to be footing the bill for this, which is very unusual, because usually the company involved in the disaster would be the ones paying for this. So here's the Indian Harbor is just now entering the mouth of the Conneaut Creek, and it's literally got about 1,000 feet to go. And it will go in a little bit further than that too here, where it will dock on the east side of the harbor, which is the iron ore unloading, and it will begin its process of unloading its very large load. Now these ships, this ship it is a self-unloader, which does speed up the process. However, it's still going to take anywhere from a 6 to 8 hour turnaround before this ship is ready to take off. And with its access to Lake Superior closed off, it's literally in no hurry, because there are no other ships that are able to even get to Conneaut, because everything is stuck either waiting to get into Lake Superior or get out of Lake Superior. The ship now literally has no hurry on it until they are able to reopen the channel on the St. Mary's River. But that's one of the things I've noticed about the shipping industry here, is some of these accidents, so they're literally going to happen. They're part of the business, and you also have a great deal of weather that's got to be factored into this. In the shipping companies, they don't want their ships to be sank or taken out of service necessarily, but they kind of operate on the tightest budget they can, because they just need to keep things flowing. And so as long as the ship can keep operating and they have little to no casualties, that's literally what they're going to do. But several of these ships have these histories, just like the Indian Harbors had multiple incidences of that, running aground places, or running into things. This kind of stuff happens, and so I know with the ship in Baltimore, people are citing that had an incident where it ran into another boat in 2016, which, I mean, it's a good data point, but it's also like this is just stuff that happens. There's nothing in there to determine one way or another that this would lead anyone to think whether it was an accident or a cyber attack. And I can tell you from already what you could tell from the crew's actions, this was literally, it was not the crew that was trying to do this. And they were trying to exit Baltimore Harbor with their load of goods to take out. I believe they were going to Colombo, Sri Lanka was their next stop, and they were taking a load of American goods out. Some of those goods got damaged on that container ship, so again, that's bad for American business, bad for the American people, our economy. We don't need any more bad news. So, and then we have this here with the St. Mary's being jammed up. It's not going to stop, but it's going to delay business. Delays cost money, and at the end of the day, the American consumer is the one who pays for that, because the prices end up getting put onto us. So hopefully we start getting more good news. And I mean, one of the good news is right here, sitting right here, is that the Indian Harbor was able to make its journey in here. And it is good news that the Great Lakes shipping was able to start earlier than normal. There are at times where literally into April, we still the port is still encased in ice. So because of the mild winter, it is made it so that not only the shipping industry was able to run a little later into the season last year, but they were able to start earlier. And as you know, time is money. So there has been some good news with that. I want to give some of my shout outs to a bunch of my supporters. Channel's been growing very good, and I want to thank everybody who is watching this. And just I'd like to ask you, if you're watching this, hit that subscribe button. That really helps me out. And if you like these, comment on it. Appreciate hearing your opinions on things. And I got to give some of the shout outs to some of my fans, to my promotion manager, Madeline, her sister Adeline, and Erica, Kaylin, Hattie, and Amberly and Brayley. I've got a nice little crew of, they're kind of like my, when I do some of my hikes in the woods, they're some of my my tech team for finding things. And I don't really need that as much for this. They can sit down and enjoy it. I know Erica in particular likes these ships. I've also gotten several people that are been watching from the UK, and also in Africa. And I've been looking at the analytics, and I'm like blown away. A lot of Canadians too. Thank everyone across the lake who was my neighbors to the north who are watching. I greatly appreciate you guys, all my new subscribers that I've been getting. I appreciate that. I know this isn't one of the hikes. I will be doing one of those later today. Literally, when I get done with this, I'm going to be taking about an hour and a half drive down to do a night hike. So I will encourage you to check out that video as well. Again, this is the American Experience, and I am exploring, investigating, and getting out and observing all of the beautiful things of America, both nature and industry, from city to country, and coast to coast across the fruited plain. And this is just a beautiful and blessed land. And I feel blessed that I am able to experience, and I feel it's the right thing to do, is to share that with you guys so that everybody realizes just how blessed this area is. I also do want to say, this day is pretty much what you'd say is the holiest day. This is Good Friday. Okay, Good Friday. For any that don't know, this is the day that Jesus was nailed to the cross. And yes, they have been able to get the time frame of this historically down to a very accurate spot of when this happened. This is the day that Jesus was beaten and whipped by the Romans and was then nailed to a cross. Punishment that is so terrible. They usually did not do both because both were so vicious, but yet to Jesus, they scourged him and then nailed him to the cross. But the victory came on Sunday when he conquered death and rose from the grave, and there are over 500 witnesses who stated sworn accounts that they seen Jesus alive, and there are 13 men who then suffered persecution, testifying to this. And I will tell you, and had torturous deaths, all of them. And what I'd say is this is, well, people will die for a lie that they don't know is the truth. These guys knew the truth. They knew what had happened because they were there. And you look at that as, no one is going to go to a torturous death for a lie. Not when you have the opportunity to admit otherwise. But you will go to whatever end for the truth. So on this weekend, I want to say, be kind to people. Be considerate of other people. Remember, it's not all about you. Okay? It's not all about me. Okay, wherever you're watching in this country, if you are watching this, if you are blessed enough to have a device and the internet access to watch it, then you need to count your blessings. Give that thanks to Christ, who paid the debt for us that we could not pay. And follow what his command was. Remember, his command says, number one was love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your mind, and all your soul. And second, love your neighbor as yourself. Remember, there is no law against that. There is no law against doing good for other people. Okay? There's no law against being kind. So even though you may have the right to be mad, choose mercy, as you have been shown much. And if you would like to continue having mercy, treat other people with the mercy that you would like to be shown. That's my little Easter message. I want to say thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, and share. Okay, send this around. Okay, get outside. Regardless of the weather, enjoy life, experience the beauty that is around you, and share that beauty with other people. Okay? And be kind to everyone. Be kind especially to your neighbors. Okay? Thank you for watching all the way to the end. God bless you, and you have a wonderful day.